Okay, hello and welcome to the Mentor Education and Ducere Global Business School live webinar on business and higher education pathways. Today I have with us Josh, Neil and Iona. Welcome everybody.
Hi James, great to be here. Looking forward to having this discussion today. This is always a really exciting discussion that we get to have with people. So there's nothing better than exploring where people can go and what they can do and all of the options that are available to them.
Fantastic. And Neil and Josh, would you mind jumping in and giving us a little bit of information about yourselves?
Sure. So good afternoon to everyone. My name's Joshua Ross. I'm one of the senior enrolments advisors here at Ducere. Manage all of the Australian courses that we provide, from bachelor's degrees all the way through to the MBA.
And I'm Neil Shire, Head of Partnerships at Ducere, and look after our various academic and industry partnerships, both here in Australia and across the globe.
Excellent. So look, I think to provide a bit of context for those of you who are tuning in, the education pathway, certainly in recent years, is very different to what it's been in the past. And there's many and varied ways by which to pursue higher education, whether it be a master's degree, an MBA, or even a bachelor's degree. The traditional scenario of going straight from high school into a bachelor's degree is very much on its head, and there's pathways that are available through vet training and vocational training that can make these higher education opportunities very accessible, both time-wise, but also there can be financial benefits as well. Iona, I'm going to hand back to you to provide a little bit of insight into mentor education and how that operates as a vocational provider.
Okay, one of my favourite topics actually is to talk about mentor education. Mentor education's been delivering education and training for around 17 years now. We've got over 20,000 graduates that have gone on, and a number of those have actually gone on into higher education. And at the moment, we have a current active number of students at around about 5,000 active students. So we're a very busy education and training organisation, and we specialise in business and finance, accounting, IT and project management, and management courses. So one of the things we do pride ourselves on at Mentor Education is about being a professional learning community and about providing opportunities for our students to move forward past their diplomas or their certificate falls, their diplomas and their advanced diplomas, and move into higher education. So we don't just deliver courses in Victoria. We deliver a vast number of courses, over 25 courses across Australia and globally via distance learning. And thus our linkage with Ducere Global Business School, who actually supports that global pathway for our students as they continue to develop their education opportunities and go through that and develop their career opportunities at different phases of their career lifetimes. So I just hand to you guys at Ducere to give us a bit of an overview about Ducere as well.
Sure. So I can make a start on that. So I guess Ducere is an online education provider. We were set up, I think, about 8 years ago now, really with a focus on sort of driving change and innovation in the education space. Quite a unique business in that we're not a university, and our model is to partner with universities. So we have created a range of courses, undergraduate and postgraduate courses, all with a very strong focus on industry engagement and practical learning. And then we partnered with various universities in Australia, in UK, in Africa, who then accredit the courses that we offer.
Okay, excellent. And how long has Ducere Global Business School been in operation, Neil?
So about 8 years.
Okay.
8 years.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I understand that you've got a really global footprint. You're doing a lot of work in Africa, as well as here in Australia and also parts of Europe. Is that correct?
That is. So Ducere's actually got a philanthropic arm of the business, the Ducere Foundation, which was actually established slightly before the commercial arm of the business or the business school. I think we're in 24 countries across Africa now, running various numeracy and literacy programs over there.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, look, let's move on and have a look at, I suppose, some of the practicalities and I suppose some of the nuts and bolts of the pathways that are available. Iona, I'm going to hand on over to you to talk to us a little bit about the mentor diplomas and what they are and how and why they may articulate into perhaps higher education pathways. And then Neil and Josh, if you could follow on from that and talk to us about some of the degrees, some of the opportunities that are available, and then some of the higher education institutions or universities that these are available through. So Iona, starting with you.
Thanks, James. Mentor provides a number of diploma and advanced diploma opportunities for students to be able to begin this pathway with. So I'll just list the courses. So we've got the Diploma of Business Administration, Project Management, Leadership and Management, and then we have the Advanced Diploma of Business and the Advanced Diploma of Management in Human Resources. So there's a number of courses that students can actually explore and opportunities that but support students' progress into some of the Ducere degrees that are available to them. The diploma courses and advanced diploma courses that Mentor delivers have no prerequisite requirements. So they're open entry courses where students, of course, must, achieve an adequate level of literacy and numeracy to enter the courses. But there is no prerequisite for entry. So they don't have to have done a Certificate 4 or a Certificate 3. So they're open entry courses. The courses are structured in such a way that they provide the foundation knowledge for a number of degrees in this pathway, which of course I'll let Neil talk more about. But the average duration of the diploma and advanced diploma courses are around 12 months. So students can enter, do 12 months and then receive recognition of prior learning via articulation, which is a direct recognition agreement between Mentor and the Ducere providers of up to 12 units. So a number of the Ducere degrees, and I'll just encourage Neil to give us some more information about that, where a number of the Ducere degrees actually do have direct credit, and in some cases the student receives what's known as unspecified credit, depending on the level of study that they've undertaken. So I'll just toss to back to you guys at Ducere to talk a bit more about the actual degree programs that the business and management diplomas and advanced diplomas provide transition to.
Sure, thank you for that. Neil, I'll let you touch on the credit aspect shortly, but just in terms of a high-level overview of what we look to achieve with all of our programs here at Ducere, I guess the best way to summarize it is that we look to bridge the gap between theory and application to the real world. That is a general complaint, whether it be at a bachelor degree level or a master's level, that challenge, that disconnect between what academia believe to be relevant and what employers actually require or you as a potential student are looking to achieve. In our research and when building the programs, we did consult closely with industry to determine what are the skill set required and how the program should be structured. And the three major complaints that came out of that are things like exams as your major assessments, textbooks in theory, but no ability to actually apply that to the real world, and often outdated content. Universities tend to have a habit of looking, say, backwards, as opposed to looking at the now and obviously the future of business. So the way that we look to resolve that with all of our programs is that we eliminate exams entirely, which is similar to your experience with Mentor. So we eliminate exams entirely. and we replace those at the bachelor degree level with assignments. Now, not only that, you're actually empowered to choose the topics of those assignments. So the intention there is to create a really nice overlap for you between your study and whatever is most relevant for you, whether that be, you know, applying your learning to your current job role to get that promotion, applying your learning to an area of interest or passion, could be a business concept or idea of yours, or certainly in this environment with COVID, many people are looking at what is the next step for them and shifting industries or roles. And so forecasting that a little bit and applying your learning to areas that you may like to get into certainly allows you to illustrate a real depth of knowledge to a potential employer as you go for those roles. The MBA and the postgrad qualifications that we provide we do take that a step further with our industry projects, where you will get to participate in 3 high-level consulting projects spanning across corporate, not-for-profit, government and startup organisations. Some recent ones or current ones, we've done projects with LinkedIn Learning, Qantas, the ATO, Department of Education, the Red Cross, Salvation Army. So they're forever changing and evolving, but you actually get to participate in solving a real-world issue with those organisations and presenting your findings to the client at the end. So it's taking that kind of, I guess, industry engagement, practicality to the next level. In terms of the university partners that you see at the bottom there, we did touch on that. So our role at Ducere is that we create and own the content. We provide all the in-house student support, so that's personalised. It's our learning management system that you learn through. But we ourselves aren't a university, so it's our university partners that are the ones that will assess you in terms of your application, and we would help you with that. And then if you were to graduate, your certificate, whether it be your bachelor degree or master's or postgraduate qualification, is awarded by our university partners. So our bachelor, our applied business degrees, the management, marketing and entrepreneurship are in partnership with Torrens University, as well as the MBA of Innovation and Leadership. Our UK online MBA is in partnership with the University of Wales. So they're a UK institution, but providing that here in Australia because it's 100% online. And then the graduate certificate in data and cyber management is awarded by the University of New England. And now in terms of credit and the opportunities for mentor students, Neil, I'll let you touch on that.
So I guess with all of our degrees in Australia, there's a fairly sort of standard RPL opportunities. If you've completed a diploma with Mentor, for example, and you want to go on and do one of our bachelor degrees with Torrens University, credit will apply for your diploma. In most cases, you'd be getting I guess 1 year's credit of the 3-year program from your diploma, assuming it's a relevant diploma, such as business, such as a diploma of business. And in particular, and quite unique opportunity that we've sort of set up in partnership with Mentor and the University of Wales is a very specific pathway program whereby students can do an advanced diploma of business with Mentor and then articulate into the University of Wales, where you can top up your diploma, your advanced diploma, with a bachelor degree from the university, or Ducere's bachelor degree from the University of Wales. And I guess the exciting element of this is that Mentor's advanced diploma of business actually provides 12 units credit out of the 18 units for the bachelor degree in the UK. So you only need to complete 6 further units with the University of Wales, which you would complete in 1 year, and you have earned your bachelor degree. It's actually an honours stream, Bachelor of Applied Business Management. So I guess it's providing you with the opportunity to get a Bachelor of Honours in potentially as short as 18 months, certainly under 2 years. Again, there's the flexibility, some level of flexibility in how long you take to do that. But it also provides for, I guess, a cheaper alternative to what it would typically cost you to do an equivalent degree fully in Australia. In fact, an honours stream degree equivalent in Australia would take 4 years and, would cost, I guess, nearly double, which is, I guess, a relevant element in making a decision about your degree. Just trying to think. Yeah, so that's, I guess that's the particular opportunity. The other element of it that Iona touched on in terms of sort of the entry criteria is that completing the advanced diploma automatically qualifies you to go straight into the final 6 units of the bachelor degree. So regardless of sort of what level of study, as long as you're able to get into, I guess, the advanced diploma, which I understand is sort of an open entry diploma, you have sort of guaranteed pathway right the way through to earning your degree.
Okay, great. So look, there's certainly a lot of benefits. The time one is, we talk about an 18-month time frame is possible, as opposed to perhaps a traditional 4-year time frame it would take to complete it in the conventional sense. Then there's, of course, the financial aspect, and really, realistically, we're talking saving possibly tens of thousands of dollars by employing a clever, I suppose, education and upskilling strategy such as this. A couple of questions come to mind, though, and you may have touched on this already, and apologies if you have. If I was a student here in Australia and I wanted to take advantage of this program, would I need to travel overseas to the UK to do this? And aside from that, what are the financing options available to me, and what sort of costs would I be looking at for the Bachelor of Honours stream with the University of Wales, as you mentioned?
Okay, so firstly, definitely no requirement to travel. So all of Ducere's programs are fully online. We have a pretty strong focus on trying to have lots of engagement with students, and we certainly pride ourselves on having a really strong student support team with sort of regular proactive engagement with students. We run events, things like that, but nothing, there's no mandatory requirement to attend anything. We run a lot of webinars for students, things like that. Everything we do is always posted on our learning management system, so people have access to it, even if they can't attend an online webinar or event. So the other thing, I think you do have the opportunity when you graduate from your degree to go over and sort of partake, I guess, in a graduation ceremony at the University of Wales, but there's certainly no sort of face-to-face learning component, and obviously therefore no requirement to do that. The cost of the degree for this particular pathway degree is going to be, so that final year of the bachelor degree that you would enter in following on from your mentor diploma costs £9,000. So that translates, I think currently it's something like $16,000. So as you mentioned, together with the mentor fee for the diploma, you're looking at, literally saving tens of thousands of dollars to earn your degree. Because the qualification is a UK-based qualification, you're not able to use government-based fee help to pay for that course. So Ducere does have a partnership with Bank First, who, and we've got an arrangement with them to facilitate student loans for students entering into our programs. So again, we would provide all the detail regarding that to anyone who sort of follows up for more detail.
Okay, great. Well, look, it certainly sounds like all the pieces are in place, and it's a really good opportunity. Iona, if I could just lean on some of your expertise and perhaps talk to us a little bit about Australian qualification standards, perhaps the advantages of higher level and bachelor degrees, and then also in the context of the new world of work. Okay, where does, I suppose, global education, certainly of this standard, stand, and what sort of impact does it have on employees' readiness to engage in this, what we describe as the new world of work?
Okay, I'll just quickly touch on the diploma and the advanced diploma courses as being nationally recognised qualifications. So they're part of national training packages, and they're recognised in Australia and in a number of other countries as well. They're also recognised by nearly all providers as pathway and entry qualifications into courses. A lot of higher education institutions will consider them to be a diploma or advanced diploma as an alternative entry for people that, for example, haven't completed their HSC or TAE or, not TAE, HSC or other Year 12 level qualification, depending on the state you're in. TER is what I was looking for, not TAE. I apologise, everyone. It's a long day. It's the end of the financial year. I would like to talk a little bit about why we have actually come together to provide this pathway. There's been a big change in the world of work and how we work, and innovation and ethics and sustainability and social responsibility, all these things and are now embedded in what we do. So those higher level cognitive skills that we need to actually work effectively in just about all roles as we go into the workplace are actually embedded throughout this pathway. And this provides our graduates, mentors graduates, and depending on the institution that they're going to study with Ducere or as part of the Ducere program, those graduates from the higher education courses, excuse me, a much broader ability to actually go out into the changing world of work and undertake what they do by thinking differently and embedding innovation and embedding new ideas and concepts and how to work with concepts and those higher level and broader communication skills that we need. We know, even just today with the changing world that we're in, the way we're working has changed again. So it's important that our students be able to confidently work that way, not just throughout their study, but as they go out into the workforce as well. So all of those wonderful graduate attributes that we talk about are embedded in this course when we look at sustainability and social responsibility. And ethics and social responsibility, as we've just seen with the exodus with a number of organisations from a social platform in the last 48 hours, that's about that level of social responsibility. So we look at these things and we work with these things in these courses. So as we've developed the courses and developed the pathways and the linkages between the courses at different levels, we've ensured that students are actually developing that skill and that knowledge and those attributes as a graduate and their own professional network as they're studying through their pathways and their involvement with these programs. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a dry throat. Now, would you like to add something to the end there about, especially with your innovation opportunities with the courses?
Certainly. I think you've touched on something really critical there, is that for any student is to be questioning the relevancy of the content of any degree or program that they look to study. And that was, again, one of the key focuses for us when building the program, is to eliminate a lot of that outdated content. And you've touched on that with your programs, and I think it carries through with ours and the focus that we have on innovation and entrepreneurship and leadership. And in my experiences personally as an enrolments advisor here and speaking to prospective students that have come from Mentor, certainly the values have aligned really well, and what you've provided has put them in good stead to potentially look at doing our program. So there is a clear connection between the two, and it's a very important point, is to be looking at the content and the units of anything that you're going to look to study.
Excellent. Now, look, I'll just put a question out to the panel, and this is, I suppose, in regards to higher education, bachelor and MBA, sort of, or masters and above. I mean, what sort of advantages does a higher education qualification in a stream such as this offer students? Certainly, I suppose, in the modern and changing workplace, which we very much defined. I mean, Josh, looks like you've got something to say.
Yeah, look, I think industries are changing and some are quicker to adjust than others, but certainly now it's not just about the piece of paper anymore. What employers want to see now is that you can illustrate a real clear depth of knowledge that can fill those skill gaps or knowledge gaps to complement, if you have got some professional experience too. And so an example I use is that a student of ours told us is that when he did go for a new role elsewhere, he's not sitting there and saying he was an MBA candidate, but it's the same for the bachelors, is that he wasn't sitting in the interview saying, well, I've completed my MBA or about to complete my MBA and averaged a distinction in my studies. A prospective employer doesn't care about that. It's really irrelevant now. What he was able to do is sit there and say, throughout my studies, I applied my learning directly to my previous role or, situation A, B, and C. And through that was able to deliver outcome X, Y, and Z. So that's really where industries are shifting. We see some larger corporations, I think it's Ernst & Young here, where there isn't a necessary requirement to have a degree to get into some of their graduate roles. But that's where study can still fill that gap, is if you can illustrate that, depth of knowledge and fill those skill gaps through applied learning.
Great. And with respect to age groups, is there a cut-off? Does it apply to sort of anybody? Does it include, I suppose, school leavers as well as mature age learners?
So I think obviously, everything we've just discussed and the value of sort of studying under this model and with the focuses that we've talked about is relevant for anyone. Certainly our programs do lend themselves to I guess, working professionals more so than graduates. There's, again, applicable to anyone, but the flexibility provided by online learning, we find that our typical students tend to be not so much school leavers, but working professionals looking to enhance their career or further educate themselves.
Okay, excellent. And up there in front of us, we certainly mentioned a few earlier on, but these are some of the organisations that Ducere works with in providing that real-world experience, which you talked a lot about, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, again, at that level, there are universities now that are starting to adopt a similar methodology to what we implement. I guess the key difference between our projects and some other unis where they may end up with a final industry project with a big corporate name, say your Telstra or your NAB, is that the university often is still setting the criteria or the learning outcomes for that project. So the organisations, the company name's on that, but it's ultimately the university saying, here are our learning outcomes and this is what the project's going to be about. So it tends to end up being more research focused. With our projects, they're all live. And we work with the client closely to flesh out that issue, and then we build the learning outcomes around that project. So for an upcoming intake that we've got to focus on what's happening now with COVID and how organisations and companies are being affected. I know one in the not-for-profit space, which is with Creative Art Therapy Australia, working on a communication strategy for them of how they can provide their services, which to assist with mental health and all those sort of areas to help frontline workers. So people within the industry that, are really doing it hard throughout COVID. So that's the other thing, is the relevancy of it. It's up to date and relevant for now.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, look, we're getting towards the end of tonight's presentation. I'll just hand it over to the panel one more time to make any final remarks that you think might be pertinent towards, say, a higher education and business pathway such as that we've described. Iono, you first.
Okay. This pathway is a really unique pathway. We have cohorts at different levels at Mentor. A lot of our students at Mentor will actually start with us in a Certificate 4, and they'll come all the way through the advanced diploma, and then we'll support them to transition to Ducere and into the higher education pathways. And we tend to find that by supporting this pathway and by having this pathway in place, there's a number of individuals in our cohorts, depending on the course, that really benefit from participation. And I think one of the things that makes this pathway so unique is that relevance. It's currency, it's relevance, it's meeting the requirements for the changing world of work. We know we're getting feedback from employers that have taken up our graduates on placement and won't let them go, so they keep them. So we know that this pathway is an effective pathway, and it provides good opportunities for people to be able to actually go out and enter into their future and their future career and feel very positive and be able to explain how they can do what they can do, what they do, and to bring those two things together. So so they can be confident as they embark on their career. So from the aspect of the higher education courses, yeah, I'll just hand over to Ducere.
Yeah, no, I just finish off by saying it's an exciting, fantastic opportunity from us internally to work with Mentor closely, and certainly for the student to, as you said, continue your education in the same way, same values that are provided at Mentor, all the way through to higher education with us at Ducere. And our focus and values are all about delivering those real outcomes for the student in the workplace or whatever they're looking to achieve. And again, in my conversations with students from Mentor, they've been put in really, got the really good foundation skills and building blocks to continue on through to higher education if they decide to do that. So, yeah, very fortunate.
Yeah, so I mean, I likewise just would encourage, interested students to, come to Ducere's website, have a look at the various programs that we have. Lots of new initiatives also launching pretty soon with Ducere, some new university partners and new courses. And even if your focus is, just for now and you're looking at Mentor and your intention for right now is to do a diploma, it's obviously a good thing to just have some awareness of where you might go next, and you might not have decided yet, but it's a good thing to just sort of have in the back of your mind of sort of, lifelong learning and where might I go next and what pathways might there be available to me down the track.
Absolutely right, Neil. It's a very good point you make, is this idea of lifelong learning, and it's very much is the reality these days, that constant need to upskill and maintain that relevance, with regards to technology and the market and consumer expectations and a whole range of things. Josh, if people watching or tuning in wanted to get more information about Ducere, where would they go?
Certainly. So the first step would be the website. So that's www.ducere.edu.au. On the site, it's clear with all the offerings that we have. Submit an inquiry there. And if you're lucky enough, you'll probably get a hold of me and we can have a chat.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And for those of you who are interested in getting some more information about the pathways available through Mentor, head on over to mentor.edu.au. Under the student information section, there's actually an area dedicated to higher education business pathways. So once again, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you to the panel for your time tonight on the last day of the financial year, which is a great effort for everybody. And of course, if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me direct, james@mentor.edu.au. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in, and we look forward to catching you next time. See you later, everybody.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Ducere.